Hello, it's welcome to News at 10. It's a beautiful Sunday evening and we're broadcasting live from our news hub in Kanda, Accra. You can also follow our live stream on Facebook and on 3news.com. Let's start with a summary of the day's major news highlights. 8 persons have been confirmed dead in the Kwil East district following clashes between herdsmen and some farmers. The attacks occurred in separate incidents over the past 4 days. Some junior high school pupils have appealed to government to extend the school feeding program to them. The pupils say it's not fair for their colleagues benefiting from free SHS program to have free meals while they're left to their fate. And the Hohoe-Jasekan road has become a death trap. The 20 kilometers road has developed craters leading to accidents and frequent breakdown of vehicles. Asante Kotoko beat arch rivals Hearts of Oak 3-1 on Sunday to lift the 2017 MTN FA Cup played at Tamale Sports Stadium. Sadiq Adams scored all 3 goals for the Porcupine Warriors in the first half, while Thomas Abe got the consolation for the Phobians in the second half. The head of the UN Food Agency, David Beasley, has appealed for aid to avert a humanitarian crisis in the conflict-torn DR Congo province of Kasai. According to David Beasley, more than 3 million people were now at risk of starvation. He warned that hundreds of thousands of children could die in the coming months if aid was not delivered. Those were our major news highlights. Remember, we're streaming live on our Facebook page and on 3news.com. Now, let's start with our first story. The Hohoe-Jasekan road has become a death trap. The 20-kilometer road has developed craters leading to accidents and frequent breakdown of vehicles. Peter Kwao Adato reports.
The Hohoe-Jasekan stretch of the Eastern Corridor Road in the Volta region has developed craters at several points between Central Kofi and Atafu. The state of the road had gone from bad to worse after the contractor, Mrs. Rolida, had left site in March this year. Only a few drivers risked using the road, as all other communities along the stretch remained cut off.
Vehicles no longer ply the road. It has become a serious challenge for we residents along the Hohoe-Jasekan road.
This reporter got to Jasekan on Saturday, October 28, but no driver was prepared to ply the 20-kilometer road to Hohoe.
The state of the road is terrible. We prefer to use the long winding roads to Hohoe. We can't continue to be borrowing on repairs. The contractor was forced to abandon the road because of change of government. This has left the road in a more deplorable state, and we have no option than to change the route.
They rather preferred going through Bodada, Baika, Lolobi to Hohoe, which is not better either. Bent on accessing the state of the road, we hired a motorbike, and that was a lifetime experience. A journey of 20 minutes drive took us nearly 2 hours. The first crater was full of water and mud. This taxi cab from Tema had its ball joint removed.
It's almost 7 o'clock here, but we have to wait for the fitter to come from Hohoe to this place. We don't even know where we are. The road is in a deplorable state. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
We have lost count of the number of vehicles that have broken down between Apafu and Santo Kofi Saturday evening. And these passengers, including lactating mothers and pregnant women, were stranded.
Normally we used 15 minutes or 20 minutes from Koko to Jaskai, but now almost 2 hours. So we are praying for the government to come down and do something for us.
We are pleading on the government just to help us so that they will just fix the road for us. We are suffering.
But the worst was ahead, where a truck carrying rosewood capsized, creating more nightmares for road users. By Sunday morning, a sawmill at Hohoi had put their machines at the disposal of the commuters to help pull the vehicles out of the mud.
So the road is actually bad and terrible and disturbing everybody. It's not very nice. When you get nearer to it, in fact, it's an eyesore.
The sawmillers have also created this access, but highly dangerous to use. The messages from all these people are clear: an unconditional recall of Mrs. Wolida to the site to complete the mess that had been created to end their sufferings.
And he has no regrets venturing into agriculture. Instead of begging on the street, seeking alms from passers-by, he has a 5-acre farm producing foodstuff to feed the nation. In the following report, my colleague Kwabena Edu-Jemfi introduces us to 57-year-old Lawrence Demebu, who has special skills as a farmer.
Meet 57-year-old Lawrence Demebu. Lawrence is not just an ordinary farmer. In fact, he is a unique farmer with special skills. Just take a closer look at him, and you'll see that he certainly is one of a kind.
When I realized I could no longer see with my right eye, I started seeking for medical solution, but I could not get any cure till it extended to the left eye. Eventually, I was told it was spiritual.
American advocate for the disabled Robert Hensel once said, "No disability is capable of clearly defining who you are as a person." The story of Lawrence clearly defines this quote. Lawrence has walked through the world of darkness, a world that has become familiar to him for the past 35 years. But his impairment has not stopped him from taking to agriculture. Lawrence can easily differentiate between the crops, and he carries his duties with ease.
Each crop has its unique features. Once I touch the stem, I'm able to identify the type of plant. This has become easy for me because I knew this before going blind.
Cassava is just one of the many crops he cultivates here at Leati Dalakpeji in the Volta region. Curious to know more about him, I followed through his 5-acre palm, yam and cocoyam plantation.
This year, I cultivated just a few. Almost all my produce was stolen last year due to my disability.
Unfortunately, Lawrence is unable to harvest all his farm produce, but he is able to harvest some for sale. He tells me last month he was able to make 150 cedis from his palm plantation. When Lawrence lost his sight in August 1995, he did not lose hope, and his story is a testimony of what hope, determination, and the will to live can do. Farming does not pay for Lawrence. According to the United Nations, persons with disabilities comprise an estimated 15% of the world's population, with 3% living in Ghana. Persons living with disability often encounter discrimination and exclusion on a daily basis. According to Lawrence, his wife jilted him when he lost his sight and his only child died from measles.
Due to my disability, women in the community shy away from me. They feel I will not be able to take care of them.
The Sustainable Development Goal 10 aims to bridge the gap between the rich and the poor with support for marginalized groups. Despite his disability, Lawrence still hopes to make an impact in society. And after a hard day's work, he joins his friends to reflect. Ghana needs to use the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities as a guiding framework in implementing the SDGs. Lawrence may be visually impaired, but that won't stop him from seeing success and reaching to higher height. For TV3, Kwabna Edu Jemfi, Leati Dalekpeji, Volta Region.
Interesting story there. Now, 8 persons have been confirmed dead in the Kwo East District following clashes between Fulani herdsmen and some Kwo farmers. Eastern Regional Police Public Relations Officer ASP Ebenezer Tete says police personnel have been sent to maintain calm.
Confirmed to you that so far 8 people are confirmed dead, and the 8 out of the 8 we have 5 Fulanis and 3 indigenous, so 8 confirmed dead.
So what is behind the attack this time?
Immediately, we cannot pinpoint exactly what sparked this clash between the Fulanis and the indigenous, but there's a history. Remotely, we can connect it to the misunderstanding between the Fulani nomadic herdsmen and the indigenous. This week, we woke up to clashes between the two sides, and these unfortunate deaths were recorded. As we speak, the police have taken full control. We have men on the ground, both from the regional and the national headquarters. Yesterday, the Director General in charge of operations, Commissioner of Police, Dr. George Akufu Dampare, was also on the ground to assess the security situation on the ground. And he has actually assured both sides, that the police will do everything within its means to ensure that everybody is protected in the area, whilst we look into the criminal aspect of the matter too. It's rather unfortunate that most of the acts were perpetrated in the wee hours of the night. It's only some few that were perpetrated during the day, but those ones, even the people behind those killings, we don't know, because the bodies are usually found the following day after the persons have been killed. So as we speak now, we have not picked any suspect who is in our custody now, but we hope the support from the community, from both sides, will help us to get to the bottom of the matter.
What assurance can you give the people in the community? Are they safe? Can they go about their normal life?
Initially, when it happened, some people became scared, they were afraid, and some of them started fleeing the community. As I speak to you now, I can confirm to you that in Dwebiase and Fishi and some other communities, people have started coming back because of the strong police presence on the ground. We want to assure each and everyone that we are there to ensure that lives and properties are protected.
Let's get onto the telephone lines and speak with the national chairman of the Ghana National Association of Cattle Farmers, Imam Hanafi Sunday, who is currently in the northern parts of the country. Good evening, sir. Thank you. We're happy that you could join us.
Good evening to you and to all our listeners. Thank you very much for calling.
So, what have you picked up about this latest incident? We're hearing that some 8 people have already been confirmed dead over the past 4 days of various forms of clashes at various places in the Kwewu area?
Well, thank you very much. I'll first and foremost say that it is a very sad news that this thing continue to happen in this country. We are very, very sad. I think on Wednesday, last Wednesday, I visited the area where I interacted with the police from the headquarters, police service from the headquarters, and at the same time at the district level. And I think we are very, very sad about the incident, and then we have condemned it, and I think measures must be taken very seriously to be able to put end to this very, very sad news that we always get.
I know that herdsmen have had to face a lot of, I don't want to say stigma, but because of the actions of quite a few people among yourselves, you do get quite a lot of bashing, especially from communities who accuse you of all sorts of things, raping their fellow sisters, and then also destroying their farms, among others. So how worried is the association, and what steps are you taking in order to bring to an end some of these frequent clashes between communities and cattle herders?
Well, thank you very much. I think the Ghana National Association of Cattle Farmers has been campaigning for peace all around, and then one of our objectives is to find ways and means to bring this conflict to an end by supporting all stakeholders. But the issue is that sometimes I always used to make it clear to people that most of the times what we hear on the air does not at least represent exactly what happened at the grassroots. And we always used to say that sometimes when issues occur like this, we need to make thorough investigations so that we'll be able to come out with the right or the actual position of the matter. For instance, what just went on in Kwewu, you find out that what it happened when the paramount chief called upon us to find ways and means of an everlasting solution in this conflict issue. What happened is that he initiated a Kwewu ranching program, which we all welcomed, and then our members even began to register under the Kwewu paramount chief. But what happened is that when we began the registration, it is not more than 2 days when this some community people, Jiribiasi, went to this herdsmen in the morning. They went to them in the morning in their kraals, not in the bush, not in the farm, and then attacked them, killed 3 of them immediately. One of them head was cut off, and then the other ones, even after killing, they tear their stomachs and brought out instancer. So you find out that this very issue that occurred now, if you trace the issue, what is the real cause of it, you find out that there was no any distraction.
So will you be able to?
Why should people just attack these people on vein and kill these 3 people? So you find out that the cause, sometimes we need to thoroughly investigate to be able to bring
will you be able to tell us what could be the underlying cause of this very particular one? I know you won't have the full details, but what could possibly be the root cause of these recent attacks?
Well, what I could just say is that, unfortunately, I cannot, as I am myself, I am somehow very surprised about how it happened, because we always expect when issues like that has to come, it has to come when there is a destruction of farms or maybe land issues, but people attacking the people exactly in their own areas, killing them once like that. So we are seeing that there are some leaders who maybe are using some words, sometimes when you talk as a leader and sometimes you send some words that are not peaceful words. Some people easily depend on those words and go and act roughly and do what they don't supposed to do. So we believe that sometimes, when this chief initiated this program, all the community leaders, the district chief executives and others, we all rally around to make sure that we get it. But In the course of getting that piece, coming together to register and make sure that there is a piece, in course of that, these people went to do this. So you find out that there are some people who don't want the peaceful coexistence and are finding ways and means of, sometimes because of the name Fulani. So people can just wake up one day, capitalize on that name Fulani, and do so many things. And after that, they will just say they saw it on the road, they want to shoot us, they want to do this, and they want to do that. So we think that there are other internal issues that must be visited very well. And then there are so many things that must be attended to be able to find out what is the exact causes and how they happen.
Right, Malab Sunday, we're grateful for your time. Thank you extremely for joining us. This is still News at 10. We're live from the News Hub at Addis Ababa, and remember you can follow our live stream on Facebook and on 3news.com. Now, some junior high school pupils have appealed to government to extend the school feeding program to them. The pupils say it is not fair for their colleagues benefiting from free senior high school to have free meals while they're left to their fate. My colleague Evelyn Tingma has more.
It's 9:30 a.m. and pupils here from class 1 to 6 are being served their food as part of the school feeding program. And the sad thing is that the JHS students are not part. And this is because the policy doesn't cover them. The school feeding program was established in 2005 by the government of Ghana with support from the Dutch government. Beneficiaries of the program are to be served one nutritious meal every school day. This is to help increase enrollment in public basic schools, improve attendance and retain pupils in school. Yet, not all public basic schools across the country are benefiting from the intervention. But at least some 1.7 million school children are currently benefiting from the initiative across the 216 districts. While the Gender Ministry is yet to rope in other basic schools, junior high students have waded in, arguing the need for them to be included in the social intervention program. Their arguments come at the back of the fact that senior high school students, including day students, are being served free meals as part of the free SHS policy.
I feel bad because some of us, they don't give us plenty money. They give us 2 cedi, 3 cedi, and you pay classes 1 cedi. So if you buy food, first break 2 cedis, you cannot eat second break. I want government to give all of us food. They should give JHS to food because the SS people get food. And we are JHS, but they don't give us food. It's not fair.
They give all the prime. They must give us and give the prime. If your mother did not give you money, they must give you food to eat because you are coming to school.
As for me, no one gives money. So I just struggle myself and get some money to feed myself. Sometimes I don't bring money to school. So sometimes I don't eat since morning. So if they bring it, so I can easily get something to eat so that I can be satisfied.
But the question still remains, which category of students should benefit from free meals? Should it be pre-basic, basic, or senior high schools? To some, it is interesting why pre-basic schools were not in the initial plan. Well, the political ball is still rolling. Evelyn Tingma, TV3 News, Accra.
I like the young boy saying, give all of us food. Right, so on that note, we end News at 10. I'm Stephen Enti. Thank you very much for making time. There is more news at 3news.com. On behalf of the crew, good night.